Are you familiar with the concept of human design? Up until a few years ago, I had never heard of it before. And I was in a season, I can't remember, maybe about 3 years ago at least. And I was trying to figure out what direction did I want to take my business because I was doing some things with money mindset. But I didn't want to really go the route of traditional budgeting, but I did want to talk about money and wealth, but from a different perspective. And I couldn't really figure out what that was. So one night I'm watching Lewis Howes, and this guest on his show, she starts talking about human design. And I'm pretty sure he and I have the same profile. So if she, in any event, when she started describing his profile, I like sat up in the bed because it was resonating with me because it was me. And the next day I reached out to a friend of mine and I was like, have you ever heard of human design? Do you think I could put a spin on it to apply it to your money and other parts of your life? And she was like, yeah. And she gave me a couple of people to look into. So from that point on, it became an interest of mine. That is the topic of discussion for today. So if you're new to the channel, I'm Sherry from SherryLouMiller.com. And in this season on my channel, we're talking about identity and the audacity of becoming me. It's the transformational journey that we're on of constantly evolving and becoming the person that we're meant to be. I went out and I bought this book because I wanted to learn a little bit more about human design. Now my profile says I'm a 6'2", and I'm not gonna lie. When I look at that chart, it's overwhelming. I even did a YouTube class on it to understand what all those lines and numbers mean, but it was a little much for me. At the end of the day, I'm a 6'2". So if you want to know more, like I said, you can Google it, put in human design. You need the date you were born, the time you were born, the city you were born. If any of those things aren't exact, it's my understanding that the report really isn't as accurate. And if you don't believe in this, then you don't believe in it. But it resonated with me, and I do believe in those type of things. There's also a channel that I follow. I'm not going to post anything because one time I posted a link and then YouTube flagged me for copyright infringement. And I gave the person credit, but they reported me. So I'm just going to say the name of the channel is Human Design Revolution. I like her explanations of the different profiles. She goes into detail. So you can follow up on that if you're interested in learning more. So back to the 6'2". The 6, the top line or whatever line it is, that is the role model. So for my thing, I'm a role model, and then the 2 is a hermit. You know anything about me? Yes, I am an introvert and I recharge in space by myself. So I'm going to probably look away a few times because I'm just now getting back into this because I want to apply these aspects to my business, to my finance, as well as my life. So I'm looking at the characteristics of a 6'2" profile and how do they align with this season of my life and the things I've been going through and the direction that I've already been taking my business. So let's see if you can see this, some of these key words, because they describe me. And then when I went over here to the activities, these definitely describe me. So according to the profile, like I said, the 6 is the role model part. It says it's an old soul, big picture, and the 3rd act is wisdom. The number 2 is the hermit part. Leave me alone. I'm in my cozy cave, doing my own thing in my own energy. So anybody who knows me, like the second part, definitely. But here's the thing. It divides that into 3 stages. And for the most part, I think is pretty much on track for me. So it says Act 1, which is up to about age 30. Mine might have went a little bit longer than age 30, but this isn't an exact science, so roll with it. In that stage, you're going, if you're 6'2", you're going through a trial and error, chaos, and bumping into life. So I think about that stage in my life. Um, at that point, I was a single parent of one, but at 31, I was a single parent of two. And I was kind of just going through life, trying to keep it together. I'm the mother of two young children. I really wanted to have my own business. I ended up leaving corporate America when nobody could understand it. I quit my job to run my vending business because I wanted to take my shot. I'm like, I didn't want to live my life because I don't live my life with regrets. And I just wanted to do it. Didn't play out well because the plan fell apart. Some things that I had planned to do, which was if I needed to use my part of my retirement plan. Well, at that time, the stock, which was the primary part of the plan, dropped 65% from the day I left in August by the time the quarterly report came out at the end of September. And so that just blew me out of the water. And I had to pivot and do different things. In addition, that business, like I said, was a vending machine business. And I ended up doing something to my lower back from carrying the heavy pop and things like that. And a couple years later, I had to sell my machines because I wasn't at a point where I could hire someone to go service the machines for me. Plus, it's a cash business back then. Vending machines are different now because everything's going cashless. But back then, it was a cash business. So even if I hired somebody, I had to be able to trust them to bring me all my coins, literally. So I think probably up into my mid 30s, yeah, that's true. I was kind of figuring things out. I never wanted to be in corporate America, so I was trying different things to get myself out of it. But at the same time, I was a single mother. I had two people dependent on me. And so my choices and my thought process were different than they are now. But I did, on occasion, step out on faith because I also, even though I'm responsible for them and raising them, I also had a responsibility to myself to live my life somewhat in the way that I wanted to live. The second act, they say, is from 30 to 50. You're on the roof, stepping back, observing things and processing. I think mine's probably went to about 56 when I think about those decades of my life, because that's when I finally decided around 56 to leave corporate America because now my children are grown. I got a grandkid and all of this. So my decisions are based solely on me and what I want to do. And for that 20 years, those couple of decades, I would do a couple of side hustles here and there, but I was more focused on corporate America, getting up, going to work every day, making a living. I wasn't really interested in moving up the corporate ladder, but I was interested in elevating my salary to a different level as well as my responsibilities because I didn't want to be bored. I'm not somebody who can just go to work and do the same thing over and over again. I struggle with repetition. So I think during those 2 decades, I was just sitting back, observing, trying to figure out, based on past decisions, what didn't make, because I reflect a lot. So it's pretty much true. I was stepping back, just observing. But then one day I woke up, took a walk, listening to David Bach's story about his grandmother, how she wished she had taken more risks when she, I guess, was ill and she was dying. And I decided, okay, you're at the stage now, you know, you can do this, you can do that without impacting other people's lives. This is just about your decision making process now. So I called my friend. Well, he was my boss, but he was also a friend of mine because it was a Saturday. And I told him, 3 months notice, I'm leaving. It's time for me to see if I can make this Etsy shop go. I need to put my full attention on it. I've just been kind of dibbing and dabbing here and there, testing the waters, but I'm ready to make a go of it. And I started to put all my energy into it. And that's the year when the shop really took off. But when I think about it, those 2 decades probably were right, that I was just more in a stage where I was um, sitting back, figuring it out, not really taking action to move it forward. The third stage, they say 50 plus. I think mine hit closer to 60. It says coming back as a role model, living your truth publicly, sharing your wisdom just by being who you are. I am definitely in that season right now at 63 because as you follow this journey, the last few videos of shedding your old identity, the wobble, the rise, I'm in that phase of I'm taking my journey, the good, the bad, the ugly, the highs, the lows, whatever, and I'm talking about it on my channel. One, because I like to share, as I said, I think sharing your stories, everyone can benefit because I don't need to walk the path to learn the lesson. So if you're like me and I share my story and you hear things that I went through, it may help you on your journey and you pivot sooner rather than later. Or you take it into account, and if it's something I'm doing in my business and it helps you, then you incorporate it into your business. So I do feel like I'm in that last stage of the 6-2 cycle of being a role model and sharing my experiences with you so that you too can grow and evolve on your own journey and maybe not have as many twists and turns. But if you're meant to have those twists and turns, you need them to get you where you're supposed to be on your journey, then so be it. So let's move on from the 6-2, which, like I said, that I focused on more because it was so me, and it reflecting on it helped me to see some of my choices when I look back on where I was at that stage of my life, and to help me in my decision making process going forward. Now, I'm going to talk about a little bit. I came across this site the other day, about a week or so ago, and applying these to my business. So I'm a generator, which means generators are sustainable builders, here to create and grow through aligned, satisfying work that lights them up. Now, if you know me, I do a lot better when I am doing things that I find joy in and I'm aligned with and light me up. When I'm in a season like the one I've come out of, where I'm just like in the wobble, kind of in the in between, I don't do as well there. Then it says, you scale when work feeds you and not drains you, not when you are forcing energy, not when you are constantly initiating. When you follow what lights you up, your results light up too. I'm telling you, there is something to this human design thing. That is so me. So let's move on to that's the type I am, the authority. I have an emotional authority. When I did my chart, I'm an emotional authority. So it says you're designed to ride the wave, not rush the moment. You feel emotions and highs and lows, and clarity lives in the middle. Contrary to the quick decision the world lives in, you're actually designed to take time and feel into the right decision. Anybody who knows me knows that that describes me. I go a lot on energy. When things don't feel right, I'm kind of out of balance, out of alignment. I don't like making rush decisions, but once I make a decision, I commit to it, I live with it, etc. But I don't like to stay there long and wallow. But like I said, I don't do fly by the seat of my pants well. So that describes me to the T. The last one is the profile, which was the role model and the hermit, the line 6-2. So I'm curious if you've ever had a human design quiz, if you've ever taken it, if you're interested in taking it. And if you do, comment below if you think yours resonated with you. Because I'm taking all of these things, allowing my assistant ChatGPT to help me, and how to apply myself as the generator, the emotional authority, the 6'2" role model hermit, how to incorporate these things about me into my business. Because in this last phase, I do want to be a guide and add value to other people. And how can I do that best? Because the total blueprint took me all of 2025 to get here. It's all about wealth beyond money, because there are multiple types of wealth. And yes, you need financial resources. We all do, to live the life that we want to live. But you also want to live a life that's enjoyable, one that lights you up. And so that's the path of my business now. And I had to go through all of these other phases of getting out of the old identity, coming out of the middle, and stepping into the rise. And now it's an ongoing process, making space to receive the things that are meant for me to receive, to move forward in my life, my business, and my finances in a way that's going to bring me joy. So I have 2026. 2025 was a year of discovery for me. 2026 is about taking all of these things that I've learned and discovered about myself, and things that I had pushed to the back burner, because, like I said, I started this thing into human design at least 3 years ago. I bought the book a couple of years ago. I actually had looked into learning to do readings, but that's not my passion. Like, I'll share it with you, but it's not something I want to make a living for. I think it's interesting because we can all learn things about ourselves, but that's the extent of my involvement with it. I want to learn more for myself to understand it for me, but will I incorporate it into my business? Jury's still out. It may be in the last phase of how you can use your makeup, your profile, your emotional identity to improve your wealth profile, but that I haven't decided on. But the journey now is about living a whole life, from your finances to your spirituality to all of it. Embrace all of it so that you can live the life you've envisioned for yourself and experience joy and happiness in that process. So if you like what you heard, please give the video a thumbs up and come back next week to continue on my journey, the audacity of becoming me. Have a good one and enjoy the rest of your week.